Namaskar, Dobre Otra, a very good morning. Is there a simultaneous translation also? Okay. Um, First of all, on behalf of the Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center of the Embassy of India in Moscow, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this first international conference on the great Indian epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. I would also like to place on record our sincere appreciation and gratitude to the Moscow State Linguistic University and the rector and all the faculty and students for being a gracious host for this very important seminar. I had a written speech, but I think I'm going to not look at that and share a few impressions, my personal impressions about these two great Indian epics and the way I connect to them. The Ramayana and Mahabharata, of course, are very one of the. I think they're among the most popular Indian epics, not just in India but in various parts of the world. And for centuries, they have also played a very prominent part and prominent part in being the in being the stories in the mainstream theater, mainstream literature, and in India. But what I distinctly remember about these two epics is that when we were growing up as children, obviously we got to see for the first time the serialized versions of Ramayana and Mahabharata on the television. And those days we used to have only the Indian national channel, Doordarshan, and every weekend we used to have these Ramayana and Mahabharata episodes coming on TV. And I'm talking about the late 19, I'm talking about the early 1990s, I suppose. That was the time when Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana came on Doordarshan. And those days I used to be, I grew up in a village, and obviously that village did not have any electricity connection. So obviously we can't think of having a television. And so we used to travel almost 10 to 15 kilometers to a place every Sunday to watch these episodes of Ramayana, and we would huddle around a big TV screen watching those great epics. And then obviously after Ramayana came the Mahabharata, and that was also immensely popular. So I think generations after generations of Indians have grown up watching and listening and sort of experiencing these two great epics through various media, whether it's play, it's dance drama, it's theater, television, and of course now there are adapted versions of various adapted versions of these two epics also shown through cinema. The second impression I have about these two epics is also about their immense popularity in various parts of the world. I spent close to 7 to 8 years in Southeast Asia, and I have seen this deep imprint of the two Indian epics on their mainstream culture, especially in countries like Indonesia, Cambodia, Lao PDR, Myanmar, and Philippines. So you can see various different variants of Ramayana depicted in their mainstream dance drama, and also you see a lot of its manifestation through the visual arts, through art and sculpture. Indonesia, perhaps, if you visit Indonesia, you see an overwhelming depiction of these epics through sculpture. And you also see a little variation in the way Ramayana and Mahabharata are interpreted in those countries. I think we are going to listen to a lot of that from the very eminent scholars who are going to talk about various aspects of these epics and how they are interpreted in different countries and societies. So I'm not going to risk offering my interpretation of how these two epics are, let's say, followed in Indonesia, where for example, very surprisingly, I saw that Rama was not the hero of Ramayana. Rather, it was Lakshmana. Similarly, in some countries, you see that in some of the theater, some of the dance drama, you see Hanuman being depicted as the hero, main hero of Ramayana. So it's very interesting to see. But I think essentially what these two epics to me convey is the message, the quintessential message of the triumph of good over evil, about justice in society, about humanity. And that brings me to this point that I think it's just a coincidence, or I don't know whether it was planned that way, that we are having this conference on the occasion of a very auspicious Indian festival called Holi. So I convey my warm greetings of Holi, the festival of colors, to all of you. This festival, of course, talks about the onset of spring, the end of winter. I think winter is also coming to an end in Moscow, in Russia. Spring has already arrived. At least that is the way I feel, because it's warm and very pleasant. And this festival also, in some sense, is, I mean, it's based on a mythological story of the triumph of truth over evil. It talks about the story of Hiranyakasipu and Prahalada and all that. Once again, I would like to convey my profound gratitude to the Moscow State Linguistic University, to all the distinguished scholars. I understand some of the scholars are joining also virtually for this conference. I compliment the Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural Center of the Embassy in organizing this seminar, and I'm looking forward to some very interesting conversation about various aspects of these two Indian epics by the eminent scholars. Thank you so much.